Hello and welcome to another match reaction show on Football Tour Podcast. My name is Ozzie and I'm your host for today's show. A very frustrating game as Liverpool drew 0-0 against Manchester United. Liverpool dominated throughout the game but couldn't find the final touch against a very stubborn low block opposition. So let's dive in and discuss the key moments of the game. I'll also give my player ratings at the end. It's also a calling show, guys. So if you'd like to come on and have your say, feel free to hit the link. It's available in the description. I've also pinned it in the live chat. So let's talk about the first half. Honestly, I think it was a fantastic start from Liverpool. Very aggressive from the first second. United at that stage weren't able to lay a finger on Liverpool. Around the 4th minute, Mo Salah has a half volley from inside the box, which goes wide. And in the 9th minute, Garnacho has a chance for Man United, but his shot is hit high and wide. 10th minute, Szoboszlai has a crack on goal from a counter attack just over the bar. That's something I wanted us to exploit a lot more in terms of having long shots against a keeper who pretty much fumbles everything in this season. So this was our big opportunity to expose his, I would say, capabilities as for me, not a very good goalkeeper. At that stage, Liverpool were having most of the possession and playing some neat football at stages, quick passes all over the pitch. And I guess the next move was evident of that around the 15th minute. Trent Alexander-Arnold hits a cross inside the box. Núñez has a header, but couldn't guide it towards the target. Liverpool had some decent patch of play, but the key issue in the first half, and I guess it was throughout the game as well, was that final through ball. It just seems to be missing, especially with Mohamed Salah and Szoboszlai, who just weren't on the same wavelength, especially in the first half. So around the 27th minute, Van Dijk has a fantastic header from a corner, but it was straight at the goalkeeper, tipped over the bar for a corner, but the corner led to no impact. 35th minute, Gravenberch has a crack from long distance, cleared away by Maino for the corner. And then a minute later, Konate has a chance with a free header from that corner. Unfortunately, goes over the bar. Thinking maybe should have done better there. Try to at least hit the target. 41st minute, Salah goes infield and has a shot from the edge of the box. Saved by Onana. Didn't really have a lot of power in that shot, so he wasn't going to trouble the goalkeeper. That was pretty much the first half. They weren't their best, let's be honest. They weren't their best throughout the game. But at that stage, I'm thinking Liverpool need to improve in the second half. Very sloppy in the final third. And need to take more shots on goal. As Onana was having a shaky afternoon to start off with. Second half, I personally was expecting a couple of changes from Klopp, but no changes to start the second half. 49th minute, first moment of the half was Mo Salah having a dribble on the right-hand side, hits a low cross, but Onana manages to get the ball at the end of it. Núñez was literally lurking and could have got the finish there, but Onana was clever enough to read that ball. 52nd minute, Liverpool on the counter-attack with Gravenberch running with the ball. He releases the pass to Diaz, who cuts in, but the shot gets blocked by Dallo. Garnacho is through on goal around the 53rd minute. Trent makes a fantastic recovery challenge to kill that attack. And at that stage, looking at the game, things just aren't clicking for Liverpool. Unfortunately, moments after that incident, Gravenberch picks up an injury, which is such a shame, in my opinion, as he was probably one of our positive sparks in that team. So around the hour mark, substitutions were made. So Gakpo comes on for Gravenberch. Gomez comes on for Szoboszlai. So we've clearly switched up our system to a 4-4-2. I think the commentator was saying as a 4-2-4. It felt like more of a 4-4-2 just because we were playing a bit more deeper. Trent and Endo were playing in a double pivot. Gomez at right back. Salah looks like he was playing alongside Núñez, and Gakpo was on the right wing, which is a slightly unfamiliar role for him. So after that, due to the changes on the pitch, Salah has a crack on goal from his new central role, but that shot was saved by the keeper. And Liverpool was so close to breaking that deadlock through Trent Alexander-Arnold, who hits a shot towards goal. Yeah, unfortunately, clips the post and goes out of play. So unlucky with that finish there. I think that's probably one of our best chances in the game. 66th minute, Gakpo has a shot from outside the box, but his shot goes wide. It was a good build-up play, and I think Nunez was on that right wing. Maybe she was passed it to him, but he decided to take that shot on. 67th minute, United almost took the lead as Højlund goes through on goal. Great block by Alisson. I can't lie, I was worried at that time. I thought that was going in. And for United's point of view, that was definitely their best moment of the game. 69th minute, Salah goes close to opening the score sheet, tries to curl one in into the corner, parried away by Onana. End-to-end stuff for a brief 10-minute spell in that second half. As United were on the counter-attack, McTominay has a shot from distance, and his shot goes over the bar. 75th minute, Diaz has a shot as he goes through on goal, blocked by the United defense. Nunez has a chance to follow up, but I don't know what he was thinking. He was looking at the referee, hoping that he'd be given a penalty for Diaz's challenge. And I'll be honest, I think he was really poor in this game. 77th minute, Elliott and Curtis Jones come on for Darwin Nunez and Diaz. So reverting back to our old formation. So clearly the 4-4-2 wasn't working. So we reverted back to the 4-3-3. We started having more control of the game from there on. 80th minute, Elliott has a crack from distance, gets deflected, and ends up landing straight to the goalkeeper's arms. Wasn't a very powerful shot, to say the least. And at 83rd minute, Gakpo goes through on goal. His shot gets blocked by the United defense again. At that stage, maybe fans would say he should have passed it. It was kind of similar to that moment he had minutes earlier where he had a play on the right-hand side. This time it was Gomez. But I think the way he charged through from the middle of the park and created half a yard for himself, in my opinion, he had every right to take that shot. So just unlucky not to trouble the keeper there. 84th minute, huge penalty appeals from Liverpool. I think Luke Shaw handballed it or it hit his hand, waved away. That one's 50-50. I don't think he deliberately tried to block it, but we don't seem to get the luck of the green for those type of decisions, so it wasn't going to come our way. 85th minute, Gomez has a shot from the right side, hits the side, and I'm not gonna lie, when he charged through, I thought this is his moment to break that duck. And yeah, he's still looking for his first professional goal. 91st minute, Gakpo has a great header from Trent's free kick, heads it wide. I think he should have done better there. Maybe tried to hit the target. Gary Neville was saying it was a stonewall chance there. He's just talking nonsense. Don't listen to what he's got to say. And in the final minute of the game, Dalot gets a second yellow for dissent and is sent off. So he had 2 yellows on the bounce where I think he got frustrated because the ball, I think he had a duel with Mo Salah, and then we ended up getting the throw in, but it was actually Salah who had the last touch. So showed his frustration, got booked for that. And because he got booked for that, he reacted to that as well. They ended up getting a second yellow. So yeah, I see people chanting Liverpool, blaming VAR. VAR wasn't involved. It was the referee on the pitch. And I'm not gonna lie, it was a ridiculous red card, but it's got nothing to do with Liverpool in that regard. So, you know, you got your players to blame. They control yourself in that sort of moment. So, but overall, a disappointing game. In general, I would say even for the neutral, it wasn't the game that I think we all were expecting. I think most of us were expecting Liverpool's thrash United. Wasn't to be. From Liverpool's point of view, we just lacked a killer instinct in front of goal. United never really troubled the Liverpool defense. They had 1 or 2 moments where Alisson had to block a couple of shots, but I wouldn't give them too much credit, and I'm not being salty here. I don't think they produced like a masterclass performance to keep Liverpool out. We were just terrible in front of goal. Our decision-making in the final third was pretty shocking. Passes being overplayed or just wrong options being selected and taking shots from angles that, you know, you're not really going to score for. You're better off finding someone in a better position. They can lay off and then you can just build from there. That was definitely our weak point today. We just weren't fluid in front of the box. And yeah, just in terms of finishes, if we score 1 or 2 goals, it's a completely different outcome. So no, obviously, well done to United for getting that point, but it wasn't based on their hard work or anything like that. I think it was down to Liverpool's downfall, in my opinion. I also questioned some of Klopp's team selection from the start, and also the substitutions that were made later in the game. Switching a formation in the hour mark for me took the momentum away from the team, I felt like we were starting to have a bit more control in our play, and I feel like our attacking was getting better. We were a bit more quicker on the ball, and as soon as that formation switched, I feel like it just killed the way we were playing. For me personally, I don't think Szoboszlai had the greatest of games, but taking him off was the wrong call, in my opinion. He was really troubling the United centre mid, especially Amrabat, who couldn't run after him, just didn't have the legs for it. In my opinion, Nunez should have been taken off a long time ago. I would have actually taken Nunez off as a halftime sub. Had a poor performance, if I'm being honest. But hey, disappointing result, disappointing game altogether. But we move on. Our next fixture is against Arsenal, and we have to perform a lot better to get anything from that game. We've now dropped to second place in the league as Arsenal beat Brighton 2-0 earlier today. Only 1 point adrift, so next week is a pivotal game. So let's do the player ratings. If you'd like to call in, you still have some time. Just hit that link in the description. I also have it pinned in the live chat. So yeah, if you'd like to come on, feel free to do so. Just got a comment here from Andalite Media who's joined. Thank you for joining Andalite Media. That's Sam, so big up yourself. Thank you for coming on the show. And we've got Madison Smith. How do you feel about the atmosphere at Anfield today? So yeah, it wasn't the sort of vibrant atmosphere that you'd expect at Anfield. But if I'm being honest, from what I was listening in terms of the commentators, I think it was slightly blown out of proportion. I don't think the atmosphere was that much of a killer in terms of, it wasn't helping the players on the pitch, or it just seemed like it was a subdued kind of atmosphere. I don't think it was. It definitely wasn't a lively atmosphere, to say the least. But I think I'll put my hands up. I was expecting Liverpool to just dominate United and score a ton of goals today. So I think that's what a lot of us, our fans, were expecting. And we showed elements of it in the first half, but we just couldn't get that goal, unfortunately. So a lot of high expectations coming from our fan base that were in the stadium. And if it's not really happening for us, then naturally the atmosphere is going to die down a bit. So they weren't cheering as loudly as they normally do. Obviously, our Liverpool fan base, we're always supportive of our players, so it's nothing to do with that. We always cheer our players through good moments or bad moments. But yeah, the atmosphere was probably not as frantic as it normally is in these sort of encounters. But they didn't really have much to cheer about, to be honest with you. Normally, these kind of fixtures, you have one-on-one duels, or if there's like a hard tackle, it kind of riles up the crowd. We didn't see him. I think there was a moment towards the latter stages where the players clashed. I can't remember who it was, but it was a bad tackle on the player, and then I think Trent pushed Luke Shaw, and then you got a bit of handbags here and there. But yeah, normally that sort of stuff keeps the crowd going. But yeah, today's just one of those games where there wasn't nothing to cheer about from both sides. So yeah, a flat game to summarize, to be fair. But it's not a concern. We're playing Arsenal next week, which is obviously your team. So hopefully the atmosphere will be a little bit more livelier coming up next week. So yeah, we'll look forward to that. So what we'll do now, we'll do the player ratings, and let's see how it goes. So let me present the graphics for you guys. There we go. Just got another comment here from Hakeem, who says, big up Ozzie, big up yourself, Hakeem. Thank you for joining the show. So let's start with Allison. So, okay. Allison, for me, was actually good, considering overall. I think our overall performance wasn't bad. I think it was just the final third. I think from the number 8s on to the forwards, this is where we were lacking that spark. defensively, I thought we were fine today. We weren't troubled at all whatsoever. In terms of Alisson, goalkeeping wise, I like the fact that he became a sweeper keeper. So sometimes when Trent would go a bit more further up down the right hand side or inverted, you'd have a gap in that centre back row. So then it would be Van Dijk and Alisson. So he comes up a bit more forward, and then he was pinging passes all over the pitch. So that was a good sort of tactic from our side, which we've seen plenty of times over the years. And then he made that block towards the second half with Højlund as well. And there was another save in the first half. And it was quite similar to the Palace game where he made two big saves, and those two big saves end up being at crucial points where if the opposition had scored, then it would completely change the outcome or the momentum going into the game. So now I thought he had a solid game today. Can't criticize him whatsoever. Wasn't kept busy at all. He didn't really have to make a lot of saves today. So on that basis, I'll just give him a strong ranking, and I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10. In terms of Tsimikas, I actually think it was one of Tsimikas' best performances so far this season. Didn't really put a foot wrong. Kept Anthony at bay, which some people probably say is not a hard task to do, but he didn't have a chance against Tsimikas. So in terms of it defensively, I thought it was really good. Made some good tackles, made some good challenges. Even in terms of, from an attacking sense of point, he was really good. Had a good relationship with Diaz on the left, interchanged quite well, whipped in a couple of crosses. But no, I feel like his all-round game was good today. Very, very good. Didn't really make any mistakes. So in terms of passing or decision making with his positional sense from a defensive point of view, I thought he was on top of his game today. So I'm going to give him a solid ranking as well. And I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10 as well for this match. So Van Dijk for me was defensively solid as always. It's good to see him back to his old self. Very dominant. Second half, he was definitely tested where he had to make some crucial clearances with his head, and I think one where he had to take over with the ball. Covered Konate a couple of times as well. Yeah, unlucky not to score. He had a couple of headers. I wouldn't say they were easy chances because from corners, it's always difficult when you have to leap and generate extra power to get onto the target. But I think he had a very, very solid performance and he stood out for me. So I'll give him an 8.5. Konate had a good game as well. I'll ignore the last one of the game where he ran from his defensive line all the way to the attacking half and they just fumbled the pass completely. So he tried to do a bit of a Joe Matip impersonation there and it just didn't work. So yeah, that was probably one of the poor things he did today. But in general, defensively, I thought he was quite sound. With the ball, he was quite good as well. Sometimes he can be a bit shaky in possession, but I feel like he was quite decent. Yeah, it wasn't really trouble on that left-hand side. We pretty much handled Garnacho and Rashford in the second half as well on that left-hand side. So I'm going to give him a 7.5. Trent, for me, had a decent game. I don't think he was as influential as he has been in previous games. Even when he moved into midfield, he just had that crucial moment where he hit the post. And after that, I didn't really see him do much. And I know he did a lot of good passing here and there, but it just wasn't as influential as it normally has or it has been in recent weeks. So still had a solid game in my opinion. So I'm going to give him a 7.5 alongside Konate as well. Endo, I actually thought he was one of our standout performers today as well, alongside Van Dijk. I thought he did really well. Surprising to hear Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher, two-face, should never really take too much notice in terms of what they say. I think he made like one error in the second half, and then they were like, "Oh yeah, he's been awful all game just because he made that one error." But I actually thought he did really well. First half, he was on the ball quite a lot. Made some good tackles. Really got stuck in as well. That's what I want to see from my number 6. So I feel like whenever he's come on, he's actually given it his all. And yeah, if someone has criticism towards his game, I'd love to hear it, because in terms of what he brings to the table, what his role is in the team, he's doing exactly what he's been told, where he's keeping things simple. He had that good turn as well on the left-hand side in the first half, where he skipped past 2 United players and threaded a good ball to Diaz. So he's got technique on him. He can dribble as well when it's required. Passing wide, he keeps it simple. Did a couple of wayward passes in the second half, but I think because things weren't really flowing for us, he was just trying to be as forward-minded as possible, try to make things happen. And, when you take those risks, sometimes it comes off, it doesn't. So I'm not going to hold on to him in terms of, he didn't make things happen. But overall, I think he was very, very good. Very, very good performance from him, despite what you hear from our commentators. So I'm giving him an 8 out of 10. Just got a couple comments here from Hakeem, who says Endo was class. So he's aligned with my comments there as well. And he said he moves the ball so quickly. And that is what you want from your DM. We've always been linked to DMs, but the thing with having a DM that plays that role, you want them to be good on the ball as well at the same time. So Endo, for me, just kept that, like you said, Hakeem, like he just kept the ball moving. And that's what you want from your DM. It doesn't have to be sideways passes all the time. As long as he's making things happen, it kind of builds that momentum for that team. So when we go on that attack, it's with full flow and fluidity as well. So no, I was very, very impressed with Endo's performance today. Just got another comment here from Uncle Roz, who says, big up Ozzie, my bro. Big up yourself, Uncle Roz. Thank you for your comment and thank you for tuning in. Let's move on to Sabozlai. So decent performance. I think the only criticism I have for Sabozlai today, he was very, very wasteful with the possession of the ball. His just passing wasn't on it today. He made a lot of passes where I feel on the right hand side with Mohamed Salah, tried to lay off a couple of times and overplayed there or just passed in the wrong direction. Yeah, I wasn't happy with him today. He had that one long shot as well. In the match preview, I said that's something he needs to utilize a lot more in games. I don't feel like he does it enough, where he can create that half field and take a shot, but then sometimes he overplays a little bit. So this was the game where, if you're up against a shaky goalkeeper like Onana, you got to take some shots at him. So yeah, that tactic wasn't deployed at all, which was a bit disappointing. And then, in the second half, the only thing I can say that was positive from him, that is energy, kind of created space around him in that middle of the park. So it allowed us to play a bit more of a quick passing game due to Endo helping with that as well. But then it's just that when he's going for that through ball, it's just not hitting. It's just not making sense. So yeah, a disappointing performance for me in terms of Sabozlai. So I'm going to have to give him a slightly lower ranking than everyone else. I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. Gravenberch, for me, was actually one of the positive sparks in our team. He started off a bit shaky, where I think he gave the ball away once or twice, but he found his rhythm the more the game went on. I think he was up against Maino, their centre mid, quite a bit, and he pretty much scored him. I know he's a kid as well, but Endo's no veteran either. He's young himself, he's like 20 years old. So he definitely showed his dribbling ability, ball carrying play, strength on the ball as well, which I need to see more from him. I want him to boss people around him when he's got the ball, glides with the ball. I love the way he dribbles. So no, very, very positive performance from him. I feel like it was one of his better games in recent weeks. I don't know what the injury is. So I'm hoping it's not a long-term one. He just got substituted for precaution. Because, I feel like looks like we're down in terms of numbers. So we've obviously got McAllister out. Should be back in a week or so. So that's something to look forward to. No Thiago as of yet. No Basha as of yet. So numbers are quite low. Obviously, we've got Harvey Elliott, but he kind of utilized playing in the number 8 or as a right winger sometimes as well. So, but no, Gravenberch, very, very happy with him. I was very impressed with how he played. So I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10. Just going to go through the comments. Comment here from Zain Hanif, who says, big up yourself, Zain. Thank you for your comment and thank you for tuning in. And his second comment is, Szoboszlai was poor today, in my opinion. Yeah, likewise, Zain. I wasn't happy with his performance. He's one of my favorite players, someone I've been screaming at his name before he was even a Liverpool player, in terms of that. I really wanted to come in to our team. He started the season fantastically, but I think maybe we've just overused him a little bit and he's just looking like he's a bit lagging in terms of his performances. So maybe he needs a bit of a breather. And I also feel like with this whole inverted role thing as well, it affects his game because he's playing a bit too out wide, in my opinion, because he's covering for Trent, and then he's having to be more of an industrious type of player rather than being a dynamic box-to-box player. So because he's out wide and covering for Trent and trying to make things happen on that wide right area, I feel like it's taking away his key assets as a player, which is for him to drive with the ball in the central area, take long shots, and make things happen. So tactically, we've got to tweak it where he's back to playing his normal form again, because he was influential in terms of how we play. You know, the first few games we got back-to-back red cards, and he was playing as a DM at times, and he just looked amazing. Like, he's such a great athlete. So for me, it's something we need to really make sure that we can help raise his game again. But I'm confident he'll be back. He's just playing at a lower standard than what he's shown us early in the season. Maybe his expectations are too high in terms of, like, he set the bar too high. So our expectations are very high with that. We're expecting 8, 9 out of 10 performances every week. But no, I think today, yeah, he just wasn't on the same wavelength as the other players, especially on his right side. So yeah, hopefully he can get it together, especially as we've got Arsenal next week. And then another comment here from Hakeem, who says, hamstring for Ryan, unfortunately. So hamstring, yeah, it depends on what type of tear it is, unfortunately. So if it's quite a severe one, it could be out for a couple of months. If it's just a small rip, then it could be 2 to 3 weeks. I don't think he'll be participating this month, so it'll be an early January return. But obviously, we'll find out in terms of how severe that injury is. But such a shame. I feel like he was finding his rhythm today as well. So yeah, annoying, because there's other players in the team that for me aren't doing it. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes for him. Hopefully, it's not as serious as we hope right now, or we're imagining. Okay, let's go into the front three. So let's start with Salah. So Salah, for me, had a quiet first half. I feel like he really got into it in the second, tried to make things happen, took on Luke Shaw a few times, which was good to see. The decision making could be a bit better. I think in the final third, there were times where he could have laid it off to players. There was times where I think he overplayed it and should have taken a shot. So his decision making wasn't quite there today. I know he's got a great record against United, but that's not something that you just expect him to score. I just don't feel like, attacking wise, our front three, we haven't really produced the goods from our front line in the last couple of weeks now. So slight concern. But yeah, in terms of Mohamed Salah's performance today, I'm going to give him a 7.5. I don't think he was a spectacular performance, but he definitely was the more influential attacker, I think, as the game progressed. Let's start with Nunez. Nunez for me was pretty poor, if I'm being honest with you guys, and obviously trying to keep it PG as well. Yeah, very bad. There was a lot of moments in the game where he got the ball and he just killed the ball at the same time. So when someone passed it to him, he's like, stop the ball, and then he will try and, like, I don't know what, trying to confuse the centre back or slow the game down, and then it just ruins the attack. So we're used to seeing Nunez on the shoulder or playing with intensity. And as soon as he got the ball, he just killed the play. Like, we were doing quick passing, and when it came to him, it just killed the momentum. But then when he's laying off passes as well, He's not laying off the right passes. I feel like today he wasn't playing his natural game. He wasn't playing with any instinctive ability whatsoever. I think he was trying to do too much. I think he was trying to be like a false nine where he got the ball and he's trying to lay off. But that's not your natural game. You're here to be our number 9, to get the goals and be a menace to that opposition. And for me, he just was far from it. Even that late incident where Diaz had a shot on goal, I genuinely feel like if he went full speed, he could have got that rebound and scored. But he looked at the ball, half-heartedly thought, I'm not going to get that, and then turned around and started waving at the referee, said, oh, it's a penalty. It wasn't a penalty. Diaz had a shot, it got blocked by 2 defenders, and then obviously when you've got 2 defenders sliding in to block a challenge or block a shot, you're going to get some sort of contact afterwards. So it was definitely not a penalty. So yeah, I don't know what to say. I'm not going to say I give up on Darwin Núñez. I'm not that reactionary when it comes to players. I like to just base it on per performance, and I don't think he has been playing at a good level in the last 2-3 weeks. I wanted Gakpo to start this one, even though I actually suggested Gakpo to play on the left and Núñez play on the right. But I think going forward, I would probably say Núñez has to be dropped, and then we should allow Gakpo to play in his role, because right now he's being used as a squad player. Last week he played left side of our number 8. Today he played right wing, and then a couple of days ago he played left wing. So it's just like, let him just find his role, because last year I feel like he was so potent in front of goal as a false 9. And right now our front 3 aren't really attacking, and maybe having that sort of player that can go a bit deep and then get the ball and lay things off, you might add a bit more control when we are attacking. Whereas with Núñez, we're expecting him to be on the shoulder and just go all guns blazing. But if the midfield isn't in line or aligned with our attackers, then you're not going to find that chemistry going forward. So yeah, poor performance from Darwin Núñez. Expected a lot more from him. So unfortunately, I'm going to give him a quite low rank. I'm giving him a 5 out of 10. Just going to check some comments here. So Hakeem says Núñez was a hard watch. Not good enough. He was a hard watch today. I can't think of anything positive that he did today. And, enlighten me if you can think of anything positive. I feel like he just stunk up the place. He didn't do anything that was encouraging. I don't remember him having a shot on goal. Yeah, very, very hard watch. Quite disappointing to see, to be fair. Got another comment here from Mihalai, who says, Klopp killed Dom. Thank you for your comment, Mihalai. Yeah, it looks like he's been overused. I'm not going to lie. Dominic's was like definitely needs a bit of a break. I think we're overusing him too much. But unfortunately, our midfielders aren't in good form right now. So early on in the season, we could probably have rested Szoboszlai because we had Curtis Jones, who was doing really good before he got sent off. We had Gravenberch, who was showing good moments in games. And then now Elliott's showing some good moments as well during games as well. So, yeah, it's just one of those things. Maybe it needs a bit of a breather, but we don't really have that many options in midfield. So, yeah, let's see how it goes. Hopefully, it doesn't kill Dominic Szoboszlai, because I feel like he's made such an impact already. So, hopefully, it's not just, he's peaked early on in the season and kind of goes flat in the second stage. Hopefully, that's not the case. Hakeem says Cody needs to start. I agree with you, Hakeem. I would start him against Arsenal. I would use Núñez more as an impact sub now. I don't think he warrants to start per game. And I know, the fan base, he's like a cult hero right now in terms of our fan base. But for me, I'm looking at it for a Liverpool point of view. I don't really care in terms of individually. He's not producing the goods. And then when he has had shots on goals as well, he's taking a lot of shots to actually convert. So for me, that's a concern as well in terms of the number of shots he has to take to get a goal. Where I feel like when Gakpo's played centrally, he's more influential. He gets things done. So no, very, very disappointing performance from Nunez. Yeah, and I expect Gakpo to start next game as well. I just got another comment here who's from Philip. Thank you for your comment, Philip. Thank you for tuning in. Not one of our players made a good decision around the box. Yeah, you're spot on, Philip. Not one of them did. Yeah, Salah and Szoboszlai, obviously because they were playing on the same side, they just weren't aligned. One would drop deep and then they'll put the through ball ahead of them, and then vice versa. It just wasn't clicking. It's like they've never played football together. So yeah, it was very, very disappointing and annoying to watch as well. And then you have Diaz, who attacked that channel on the left-hand side, but his decision-making a couple of times was not quite there. And the problem I'm having with Diaz, so I might as well highlight Diaz's performance now. In terms of Diaz, he always starts the game very well, but he fizzles out in the second half. That's just a recurring thing that I'm seeing from him a lot. And because I'm doing all of these player ratings every match, I feel like I'm saying the same thing about Diaz. So it's not that I can't change my tune. I'm not a cassette player, but it's what I see every game. Where first half he has good patches of play, really attacks that channel, but in second half he just doesn't have that same energy. It's just like a mental block. Like he doesn't really get going. So no, very disappointing. And Nunez was, I feel like he overplayed. He was overplayed his welcome during that game. He should have been substituted a long time ago. I think he got substituted around the 70th odd minute. So that was too late in my opinion. So no, I think Klopp needs to give him a rest. I wouldn't say he's overworked out like we have with Szoboszlai, but I do feel like he needs to be rotated. He needs to be given a bit of a rest to maybe analyze why things haven't gone well for him in the recent weeks and try and work on certain games. One thing that really frustrated me, which I haven't mentioned actually, is his gaming turns. He was like offside God knows how many times today, like 10 times. And it wouldn't even be where we're on the counter attack, and then someone's done the through ball. And, sometimes it can be very marginal because of the way you're running, you're in rapid speed. This was when we were building up play and we're not even doing through balls and he's standing offside. And that happened far too many occasions in this game. So, yeah, he, like Hakeem said, he was a very hard watch today. So, wasn't impressed with him at all. Got another comment here from Mihaly, who says, don't understand how he played that good in the national team, and when he played for Liverpool, he just can't play that. I think for the national team, he's given more license to play. So I think for the national team, he's more of a number 10, so he gets more freedom to get onto the play. That might be something we need to look into, actually, where maybe we need to switch up our formation, play a 4-2-3-1 formation. It's a formation I've said for quite a while now that we should look into. But I think when you play with a double pivot, I think Klopp just doesn't have that trust in the players, that maybe we lack control in that middle of the park. And that was actually evident today, because when we switched around the hour mark to a 4-4-2, we didn't have any control in that midfield. So having a third midfielder who's a bit more as a traditional 8 rather than a number 10 makes a big difference. So no, Szoboszlai is just one of those things where it does happen in this part of the season because we're playing so many games now. We're playing, I think we're playing West Ham midweek, aren't we? So games are coming thick and fast right now. So, and then we've got Arsenal next weekend as well. And these are big games. The West Ham game is the Carabao Cup game. So I know it's just a League Cup, but it's a cup that I want to win as well. I want the team to win it. A lot of the squad players will get some game time, and it's one we can definitely win. So another silver to our name, and he might be playing that game as well, and then he might be playing against Arsenal. So yeah, it's just one of those. He will find his rhythm. I'm very confident he will. But yeah, it's just a shame that he's not really showing his true form at this stage. So in terms of Diaz, yeah, for me, he had a good first half, just fizzled out in the second one, unfortunately. The chance he had where the keeper saved it, I thought it was a bit unlucky because there wasn't much space for him to maneuver a sort of more of a powerful shot. So he could only do what he can. Yeah, so for me, he had a decent performance. So I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. So that's my ratings for the first 11. In terms of my man of the match, it goes to Van Dijk. Van Dijk for me definitely stood out. He had a post-match interview as well, where he said that Liverpool were the only ones trying to win, and United were playing the low block, and it pretty much rattled Roy Keane. Some people are like, oh, he's spot on, and then the typical response you get from a United fan or a former United player, where it's like, oh, you guys have only won one trophy in 30 years. That's always the first thing they say. United fans are actually celebrating this 0-0 result, so it just goes how far they have come. But as a fan base, I know I'm disappointed, and I'm sure you guys are disappointed as well in terms of the result, because a draw was not an option for me. We had to get the 3 points, even if it wasn't a big scoreline. I was expecting us to get goals. So, yeah, very, very disappointing performance from our team today. So let's add on the substitutes that came on. So we had Gakpo coming on for Gravenberch. So we'll take off Gravenberch for Gakpo. Then we also had Szoboszlai coming on for Gomez. So Gomez, I'll put the players in their correct positions shortly. And then we've got Elliott on for Nunez. And then we have Curtis Jones on for Diaz. So Curtis Jones. Okay, so I think we ended the game playing a 4-3-3, so we'll just leave it at that. And then, yeah, weird formations, isn't it? And I think Salah ended up playing more centrally. Yeah, we'll just leave it at that. So, because Gakpo was playing midfield at later on that stage as well, which was quite annoying. Actually, no, he was playing right wing at times, so I'll just place him there, Gakpo there, which is not his position. So let's talk about Gakpo. So even when Gakpo came on, he definitely showed urgency in his play. Added a bit more zip, a bit more flair in terms of when we were attacking. But decision making was another thing. I feel like it just went all across the team. The decision making was very poor. Today, he had a couple of shots where he took it from distance. Maybe should have passed it. That one where he had Nunez on the right, definitely should pass that one. He had another one where he had Gomez on his right hand side. That one, I feel like the shot was probably the right call. And I'm speaking as I used to be an attacker as well. So I feel like because he made that half yard and he had the opening of the goal, it was probably the right kind of shot to execute. But yeah, otherwise, I think he had an okay impact when he came on. But yeah, decision making was poor from everyone. So today, I'm going to give Gakpo 6.5 out of 10. And then we've got, who else do we have? Joe Gomez came on. Defensively was okay. Attacking wise as well, he had that shot on goal that hit the side name. I'm not gonna lie, I thought that was going in. But yeah, it wasn't to be. But yeah, he does a decent job at right back. I do like Joe Gomez at right back now, so it's not a problem for me whenever he comes and plays that role. So yeah, I'll give him a 6.5 today as well. Elliott came on, so Elliott and Jones came on probably the last 10-15 minutes. Elliott didn't really have that kind of impact that he has had in previous weeks. I think he had a shot that ended up getting deflected, and then pretty much Onana saved it easily. And that's about it. Didn't really have many more moments to highlight. So I'm just going to give him an average ranking. I'll give him a 6 out of 10. And Curtis Jones, I barely remember what he did, to be honest with you. He's not having any impact, whether he starts or whether he comes off the bench, which is a little bit worrying for me, because the form he showed before that red card he received, I feel like, all right, we're seeing the real Curtis Jones, but that Curtis Jones gone a bit missing, in my opinion. So I'm hoping he rediscovers his form very quickly, because we need his input, we need his influence in the team. with so many games coming up, we're going to need to rotate our squad quite a lot. So yeah, hopefully with more minutes under his belt, he can rediscover some of that good form. So I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10 as well. So let me know what you guys think in terms of my ranking. Have I, or should I say ratings, have I been quite generous with some? Some of them, considering it was a 0-0 result, I think the defense deserved to have a higher ranking due to the fact that they were solid. They didn't cause any issues in terms of their play. But as you can tell, from an attacking point of view, this is where we lacked. So it's a reference of how the game actually panned out. So I feel like it's as honest as I can be in terms of my ratings. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. And as there's no one that wants to come on the show, let's wrap it up today. So thank you to everyone for tuning in. Thank you for everyone for their comments today. So thank you to Undiluted Media, Madison Smith, Hakeem, Anfield Uncle Rods, Zayn Hanif, and Mihaly as well. Thank you for your comment and for your contribution. And sorry, Philip as well. Thank you as always, guys. So next show in terms of upcoming content, we'll be doing a match week 17 review of the Premier League tomorrow. Time will be, I think it will be 10 o'clock in the evening UK time. But best thing to do with upcoming content is hit that notification bell. You'll get that notification when I'm going live, or follow me on social media, and then you'll get all the updates as well. So you can follow me at Ozzie FTP on Twitter /X, and you can also follow me at Ozzie.ftp on Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. So yeah, lots of content coming through. So I said match week 17 review tomorrow, and then I believe we're playing West Ham on Wednesday. So I'll be doing a match preview of the Carabao Cup encounter as well on Tuesday night, and then we'll do a match reaction on the Wednesday evening, and then we'll probably do a match preview of the Arsenal game as well. So maybe I'll have a special guest for that. I'll let you guys know. So as always, guys, take care, stay safe, enjoy the rest of your weekend, wherever you are in the world, and I hope to see you all very, very soon. Goodbye.